Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Today I'm telling you over 50 tips to improve at Brawlhalla. There's so much to learn in this one video. This video is a collection of our best tips from last year and they're all still applicable for today. So I hope you enjoy the video, and also just want to give a quick shout out to a new game I'm working on called Ventomori. This game is a 2-player co-op asymmetrical experience you can play anywhere around the world. Be a player on a space station or be a player on a planet and cooperate by working together through communication to solve puzzles, figure out the world, and escape from the planet. Ventomori has been in development since September. I've been giving it a lot of my time, so I'd really appreciate it if you check it out at the link below and wishlist it, because it's coming out in 1 month and it's completely free. There's nothing you have to pay. It's a project we had the opportunity because of Brock University. So shout out to Brock, shout out to Ventomori, and please wishlist the game. Check it out at the link down below. There's a lot of tips in this video, so I hope you enjoy.
And the first tip we're talking about, if you go into Brawlhalla, we're going to go to the settings. So that's going to be in the top right. Just go to options. We're going to go to preferences, and then we're going to look at the camera mode. And you see my camera mode is on action. I usually go default, but I'd really recommend going action or going close camera. And the reason for this is because it's a lot closer. So the little micro adjustments to your spacing is going to be a lot easier. So for instance, if I hop into a match, I'm going to show you the difference really quick. It is a dramatic difference. And all the best players use these camera options. Guys like Stingray, I don't know what Sandstorm uses, but almost all the new players and Brazilians even, they almost all use this. I promise. You can ask anyone, the majority use these options. So if you go to default, you can kind of see what default looks like. You know, it zooms in, pretty zoomed in, but not too much. Let's go to now action and take a look at this difference. It's going to keep zooming in. And this way you have a lot more precision on the micro adjustments. You can see what hits and what doesn't hit a lot clearer. And there's one other option, which is the close option. For me, this is a little too close. It is super close. It really changes the game and kind of shows you that they need to improve the resolution on these legends. It looks pretty bad. But yeah, this is the best way that Stingray and a lot of other top players use. So definitely recommend switching to either action or close. And let's get to the second tip. So the next tip, which you can kind of already see in the game right now, is these damage icons. You can see my opponent is yellow and I'm white. And this is a great way to see the health without landing a hit and also without checking the stocks in the top right. One other little fun fact, if you don't want this option, whenever you land an attack, it actually flashes the color of their health. So that's something to note. If you don't want this option, you can still see the health, but it relies on you hitting your opponent. And it's hard to register what health they're at, where it's easier if it's before you hit them. So I really recommend to turn this on. What you're going to want to do is go back to those settings, go back to preferences, go to team icons, throw that on damage, and the name/icon size, throw it on big icons. That way it's a lot easier to see what health your opponent's at, and makes your life much easier. So the third tip, and this is something a lot of you have heard before, but I want to reinforce it, is to pick a main. Every weapon and every legend in Brawlhalla plays slightly differently, and most importantly, if you stick to one thing, there's less things you need to improve at in order to go pro, or at least to see a difference in rank. So if you focus on one thing at a time, you're limiting your scope, you're making it as easy as possible to see a noticeable difference in your gameplay, and it will help you climb the ranks even easier. So pick a main, and honestly even pick a main weapon. I like Lance. Whichever weapon you have the most fun playing, I really recommend focus on one thing at a time, and you'll see a lot of results, and then you can focus on the other things. So pick a main weapon. Let's go to tip number 4. Okay, so tip number 4, let's talk about flowcharts and what a flowchart is. So essentially, if we go into training, and I'm just going to turn this stuff on, I'm going to reset the bot's position. A flowchart is deciding what to do depending on the circumstance once you land a punish. So let's say I land this axe side light. Because I hit the axe side light slightly stacked, you can ask yourself, which follow-up do I go for? And because you hit it stacked like this, it's better to go for down light. That is the true confirmed combo, where that nair doesn't always hit if you hit it close to stacked, as you can see. So understanding which move you should go for, depending on the circumstance, it's going to optimize your Brawlhalla gameplay, so that way you don't need to win neutral as much in order to win. It's picking the options, it's finding the solution to Brawlhalla on the weapon you play. So on axe, side light, down light if you hit it stacked, or maybe even if you want even more reward, you could experiment with side light downer. And that's another way, because side light downer sets you up for 3 pieces in a really good position with ground pound, but it's less consistent. So maybe you'll want a down light. So understanding what's the most optimal thing to go for in every circumstance is very, very important. Same with side light nair. If you nair and they're in white, maybe you can gravity cancel down light, right? I'm misinputting. I switched the D-pad literally today, so ignore me for the misinputs. It's just so it's easier on my wrist. I usually play analog, but yeah, maybe you want a side light, down light. But let's say their health is, I don't know, 120, and you side light nair. Oh no, that down light, it's 12 frames. That's not going to hit. So when you hit them at this health, maybe in your flowchart, you jump recovery, and that way you're going to get a kill. Or maybe you jump Sair, right? So the point is, it's adapting your follow-up depending on the circumstance. So really optimize and find the solution to your combos in Brawlhalla, and that is your flowchart. And figure out what's optimal in every situation, and you're going to win 10 times easier Brawlhalla. Now, tip number 5 is to position yourself depending on the strengths of your weapon. So for instance, Axe's combo starter is side light. So if I'm grounded, I'm going to want to be a bit more horizontal and grounded. That way I can also go for Axe neutral light, but really want to space yourself horizontally, because that way you're going to do the most amount of damage. However, on Lance, it's also horizontal, because side light is so horizontal, end light's horizontal, Sair is horizontal. There's not many stacked options other than down light, and even that move is pretty slow, so you're going to want to be a bit more horizontal. But this isn't true for every legend. So for instance, on Hammer, I guess side light's a good horizontal option, but it's not really a horizontal combo starter. So if you can be stacked and grounded, down light is your best play. So being comfortable being near your opponent and catching those stacked situations is very important. Same with Orb. Orb doesn't have a ton of horizontal range. You can dash side light, which is obviously a really great option. But if you're closer, the side light might be a little bit easier to land. And you also have really good coverage. Neutral light stacked, down light at diagonal, side light horizontal. Just really well-rounded, so you could be a little closer to your opponent than, let's say, on Lance or Axe. I'll do one more example. Thea. Thea's boots in general. Boots downlight is super close to the user. So on boots, you're going to want to be closer, but still a little horizontal so you can land that downlight. But you can't be back here, or that dash downlight might not land if you're too far away. But if you're on Lance, for instance, check this out, it will land. So your positioning is different depending on the weapon. So position yourself in a way where you're going to get the most amount of reward for whatever thing you play. And even more true if you play something like Scythe or Gauntlets. Maybe you'll want to be a bit more off stage for Gauntlets or Blasters. Really everything in the game, like Scythe, you know, horizontal, you don't even have true combos grounded. So maybe you'll want to be a bit more diagonal, and then you can start with that there, right? Who knows? It's up to you. Just position yourself in whatever places work best for your weapon.
This is how we get down. So tip number 1, manage nervousness. So how to manage your nervousness and how to manage your nerves in general, something that's very important to doing well in most competitive things in life. Now, you may have heard me talk about it in an interview before my set with Boomy at BCX. And basically I go over something that I learned from a UFC fighter named John Jones. You guys have probably heard of him. He's the GOAT. And he's a really smart guy. And he basically talks about how when you're nervous, you're your most powerful. And what he means by that is, I mean, think about it. When you're nervous, you have heightened focus. You have heightened reaction time. It's just fact. You hear things faster. Like, you literally hear things faster and more detail. You see things faster and more detail. Like the things you hear and the things you see, like the auditorial stimuli that your brain processes, it literally does it faster when you're nervous. And this makes sense evolutionarily. Like, if we're in a situation where we're scared, when, you know, like there's a lion around the corner, we need to have these quick senses to be able to get away, you know, or to fight it. Like, you guys know what I'm saying? And the same thing applies now, even though we're not fighting lions, we're just in grands in a tournament or something. So, managing your nervousness, When you're nervous, you're most powerful. So all you need to do is to find something that can keep you grounded when you're nervous, and that can, you keep on reminding yourself, like, okay, this is where we're at right now. Like, you don't let it debilitate you. When you're nervous, you don't allow it to consume you and just dictate you completely. It's hard, trust me, it's hard to not let your nerves completely take you over and just kind of like sit back and just, like let everything happen in front of you. Like, it's hard not to do that. You have to take control over your nerves. Like, you can't just let it just take over you. At the end of the day, you don't let your nerves overtake you. You don't let your nerves control you. You control your nerves, and if you control your nerves, you can be more powerful and better playing than you would be if you were nervous. I love being nervous. I love when I'm in those good situations, when I'm in those like bad situations, quote unquote, like when there's a lot of pressure, because it makes me play better because of that. Which leads me into my number 2 place, having a game plan. Having a game plan and thinking about the game plan consistently throughout your tournament helps you in general, like, keep yourself from getting like really nervous. It's another way to deal with the nerves, because if you're grounded with a game plan and you have something to think about while you're playing, like, for all my sets, I think about how I'm gonna apply my game plan to these guys. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this in neutral, and then I'm gonna do this in manage state. I'm gonna be careful. I'm gonna mix up. I'm gonna do all this. I'm gonna play perfectly, like this, and then I do it. Just having a game plan and doing number 3, what we're about to talk about, will definitely also make you play better and make you have more of a plan in tournament, and also make you not kind of all over the place in tournament, because that happens a lot with players. They'll play a tournament and they won't really, they'll kind of just let the turn pass them by, and they'll just like go like set to set, like not really like, maximizing the chances of winning. Which means leading to number 3, visualization. So another thing that John Jones talks about, and a lot of UFC fighters talk about, and I bring up UFC because it's a competitive sport, much like Brawlhalla 1v1 competitive sport, but it's physical, and there's a lot of real world applications. There's a lot more people that have made it that talk about their mentality, because it's also a lot more, dramatized. Like, these people could literally die in the cage if like bad things happen. So Conor McGregor, John Jones, all the GOATs of MMA talk about, they all talk about something called visualization. It's when you visualize your future, every aspect of your future. I'm sure some of you guys have visualized, what it would feel like what you would say after a tournament, how you would celebrate. But I'm telling you guys, when I play my best, it's when I have, before like the night of the tournament, or an hour before my set, I just sit there and I just genuinely visualize every part, sitting on stage, plugging my controller in, starting the game, like waiting for the TO to give me the code, like starting the game, going there, like the first neutral action, the second neutral interaction, the first stock, the second stock, the third stock of all the games. If it went to game 5, it went to game 3, like every single possible thing that could ever happen in tournament, I visualize and I play it out in my head like it's really happening. Because there's another thing with visualization, is that your brain, I read somewhere, I don't know if it's true, but your nervous system doesn't know the difference between visualization and things actually happening. And I think that's true, because there's stories of people like, genuinely like thinking themselves into stress or anxiety, So I think your brain and your mind and what you're able to visualize and kind of like gaslight yourself into experiencing, I think that has a lot of power in every way, like both negative and positive. So you can kind of influence that power in a positive way to make you play better, just like that, if you just visualize and you kind of put yourself in that experience over and over again. So when you get to it, it feels like familiar to you. It's not overwhelming, if that makes sense. I think visualization is probably the number 1 most important thing on this YouTube video. It's just so important. It's probably one of the best, like probably one of the things that has helped me the most in my career. And my career that's just getting started, by the way. Just visualization, very helpful, which leads me into my 4th point. Now we're moving on to more mentality, more, not necessarily mentality, but like more like true tournament, like mental, like how you truly think about things. And you guys got to get rid of this belief that, things are unlucky. Everything in Brawlhalla is your fault. You got to constantly think about it like everything is your fault, because it is. Every time you get hit, it's your fault. Every time something happens, it's your fault. If you truly think about it, like any interaction can be explained in a way where you could have done something about it. So it's your fault. Everything's your fault. You got to get rid of this coping mentality of like, oh, like, man, you know, this guy just got a lucky hit on me, or the weapon spawned this way. Like, okay, bro, the weapon spawned randomly on the map. Like, you should be ready. Like, you should be dashing around the map, like, at all times, like, looking for a weapon. Like, you should be quick about it. You should have stage control. The weapons spawn in the middle of the stage. As long as you're moving, like, around here, like, from here to here, like, and you're just constantly looking for a weapon, like, you can get one quicker than your opponent. If you're good unarmed, you can get your weapon quicker than your opponent. Like, you can just sidelight them away, and then with your stage control, you get the opponent. You memorize the timings of the weapon spawn timings are very similar of when one spawns and when one doesn't. Like, if you know that, then you'll get the weapon quicker. There's things that can contribute to everything's your fault. Moral story. Every hit, every interaction, every decision, everything. Truly everything. You gotta look at the game with the mentality of that everything is your fault, and you gotta watch replays with everything is your fault, because that will just help you improve it in life. Because most of the thing, you gotta take complete accountability for everything. Like, that's just the way it is. Which leads me to the 5th point, which is being real. You have to be real with yourself. You can't just kind of cope your way through losses. When you lose, trust me, bro, I fucking know it sucks so bad when you lose. I lost a fucking Megd to a misinput last night, like in Moose Wars, and it was like I lost a last arc red 2 times in a row, and the last game that I lost was to a misinput. It sucks to lose. I know it does. Like, trust me, I know more than anybody. And some people, somebody would misinput there and be like, "Fuck, so unlucky, bro." Like, or they'll be like, "Man, like I'll like, you know, like there's nothing I can do there," or something. Like, you can't just cope your way through losses. I lost that because I couldn't input it correctly. It was too fast an input for me. Like, my hands weren't fast enough. Like, that's my fault, truly. And in truth, it shouldn't have even been that close anyway. Like, if I want to become the best player in the world, I need to be able to just beat everybody, like, easily. Like, I shouldn't have been struggling to the degree where I needed that input. If you guys know what I'm saying. You gotta be real with yourselves. You can't just be on copium the entire time. Like, oh, Scythe is so broken. Like, no, bro. Scythe is not the reason you lost, bro. You're the reason why you lost.
So, doing all these things would probably get you diamond at this point, and if not, continue watching this video. But if you are diamond, I highly recommend to enter every single tournament you can possibly find. And here's how to find the tournaments that are at least officially sponsored by Brawlhalla or partnered. They're made from Brawlhalla. In the main menu, you're going to want to go to this little icon on the right, tournament on youtube.com/pro-Brawlhalla. This is a menu to click on, fun fact. If you didn't know, it's because Brawlhalla's UI is terrible. Go tell them that. No offense, Brawlhalla, but this is terrible. Tell people this is a menu. When you click on this menu, it takes you to the esports hub. I know, secret menu, crazy, right? They still haven't updated the Twitter logo. But anyways, they haven't updated a lot of stuff on this menu except for the tournaments, and this is what's important. You can go to official tournaments. You can see all the next official tournaments. There's one happening in literally 12 days from when I'm recording this on August 13th. So go sign up for that. There's also more tournaments. So this is the Laffy or whatever, Laffy. The next one, Freya, is in September. So tons of tournaments coming up. And then you can go to community tournaments. And there's tons of community tournaments literally this coming weekend, or the weekend after that, and the weekend after that. And then it looks like there's a LAN on this date for 2v2. This one says it's in PA. That's really cool. Yeah, they got 1v1 and 2v2. That's really cool. I'm going to have to go to that. But yeah, Frostbite, Logitech tournaments already happened. But look, there's a Neutralix LAN, and that's a tournament I'm hosting in Toronto for 250. So go check that out. It's going to be the Fall Showdown. But yeah, there's a lot of great community tournaments. So check out this menu, sign up to any tournament you can possibly find if you hit diamond. If you're below diamond, I wouldn't recommend this tip quite yet. Let's get to the next tip. So tip number 7, join a clan. So I've made a clan myself. I don't really use clans if I'm being quite honest, but I made this back in 2017, but 2017 is when I was going pro at Brawlhalla for the first time. And back then, it really helps when you join a community that plays the game, giving you an excuse, surrounding yourself in an environment that is playing Brawlhalla daily will make you want to play the game more. The truth is you're a product of your own environment. So join a clan and pick an environment for you to be friends with and meet some new people, and they're going to help you improve at Brawlhalla even without telling you to improve at Brawlhalla. It's just going to happen organically. So go find some Brawlhalla clans. If someone's in a clan that you want to do on and the clan looks cool, maybe invite them to a lobby and try and join their clan. Get into the community a little bit, because that way you're going to improve without even thinking. So tip number 8, and a lot of people who are watching this won't like this tip, but it's the truth. Play Brawlhalla on PC. You get a lot more options. You can buy higher refresh rate monitors that reduce input lag. It's just the best way to play Brawlhalla. So if you are, I'd say, at least Diamond and you want to take this game seriously, I really recommend investing into a computer. And don't even buy a computer just to play Brawlhalla. Buy a computer because it's a long-term investment. You can make content, you can stream, you can make graphics and sell them. You can do video editing and be paid to do it on YouTube. The point is, it's an investment in yourself to make more money that will pay back the computer. A computer is not for fun, although it's an excuse to also have fun. So buy a computer if you don't have one already. I highly recommend it. And once you buy a computer, optimize your game. That's tip number 9. Brawlhalla has a lot of optimization tricks and tips. So go check out our video last year on how to remove any lag in Brawlhalla. We're going to be doing an updated version of this fairly soon. So stay subscribed to Team Neutralix, turn the notifications on if you want to improve our multiverses and Brawlhalla and future fighting games too. But if you want to improve your game's performance, and check out our previous video. The link to that is down below. It's also on screen right now. Editor show a screenshot, go check out that video to remove any input lag in Brawlhalla. So we're not just improving Brawlhalla's input lag, let's improve your ranked experience. Let's make it so ranked is much easier to win every single time. So what you're going to want to do is go to ranked, 1v1 or 2v2, and then we're pressing the ranked settings. If you go to the ranked settings, you'll see I have a lot of custom options. Tournament maps only, and make sure that is on. That is the most important thing in the world. Next, ban the maps that you don't like. I really don't like Western Air Temple. I also don't like Mishima Dojo. They're like old Enigma but worse, kind of, and I don't like Air Temple at all. So ban those. And last but not least, ban gadgets. Make sure that's on. Why are you playing with gadgets on? They're not competitive. They're random. Just don't. Why would they ever be off? It's like, yeah, just ban gadgets on. Make sure this is on, and you're going to have a much less frustrating ranked experience. So tip number 11, we're actually going to play a game to help explain this tip. I'm going to play a random, and this tip is to help you improve at neutral every single time. And to do that, there's just one massive tip that will just get anyone who is basically below diamond in diamond immediately. And that tip is to make sure your opponent is vulnerable. Your attack accuracy is extremely important. Missing will give your opponent an opportunity to hit you. So really focus on raising your accuracy. And how do you raise your accuracy? You ensure an attack is going to land. So make sure your opponent is vulnerable if you're trying to hit them for real. So for instance, he's going to do something, and then I went for the side light, but he missed that. When they miss, it's an opportunity to hit them. Just make sure you're making an accurate decision. I couldn't hit them there, but he's going to miss, and I could hit him there. And then I hit him with a little true combo. Got a little punish. He dodged, so he was vulnerable. I missed that side light. No dodge, so he's vulnerable, so I went for the 3-piece, right? Make sure your opponent can't avoid your attacks. Make sure they are vulnerable. I missed that. And you got no option. So yeah, ensure your opponent's vulnerable. I want you guys who are, if you're below diamond, really watch what's happening right here. Focus every single time I hit him. It's to like when they're vulnerable. I almost just zero to death them with a triple nair. That's really funny. But if they don't have a dodge, maybe they're vulnerable. He dared. He was vulnerable. He recovered. I went for him. I shouldn't have went for that Sair. He wasn't vulnerable. What does he do? Put him. He missed, right? Focus on them missing. Or if they got no dodge, then they're vulnerable because they can't dodge your attack. So, he's going to waste a dodge, and then I hit him. He's going to waste a recovery, and then I missed him. That's on me, though. I just missed him. It's not because I didn't do it. He missed a down sig, then I hit him. Right? He's going to dodge, then I hit him. He's going to dodge again, then I hit him. Right? It's waiting for that moment to be accurate. Ensure your attack is going to land. You're going to win every single game by just doing that. Okay, let's win this game, chat. If this video is helping you, by the way, please subscribe to Neutralix. This channel, again, is made to help you improve. Also, that side stick hit because he was vulnerable. You know, make your opponent miss, and you're not going to miss. Okay, tip number 12, that's going to actually help with the last tip, is we're going to do a little training routine. And people who've been watching my videos for a while kind of know what I'm about to talk about, but I still want to reiterate it for anyone who doesn't know. Go to offline, set the players to 2. Let's go ranked 1v1 maps. Let's turn the gadgets off. And let's put the bot, we'll start with hard, right? And last but not least, my bad, put the lives to 1. And then pick your main or whatever character and start a match. Or, well, we could change the lobby settings. I personally like to just put it random. That way it's even quicker. But yeah, start a match and it gets right into it. Now, we're going to play a little game, okay? The game is to beat your opponent without getting hit once. So ensure that everything you do will not make you vulnerable. Focus on the accuracy, you know, and just don't get hit once. If you get hit once, I'll show you what to do. I got hit once, so then you pause it, you leave, and then you start it back up again. And it's instant. It's a really quick way to focus on accuracy. And that is a big thing when improving at Brawlhalla. If you do this as a little training routine, you know, let's say you're at school and you have a laptop and maybe your school blocks your Steam servers and you just want to practice Brawlhalla, this is a way to practice it without taking it too seriously. And fun fact, I used to do this in high school. When I was in high school, I'd bring a little MacBook Air to school and I would load up Training Room and I would do this, and I just 1v1 the bots. And then once you beat the bot in one of the game modes, like let's say the bot is hard, we upgrade them to extreme, and then try and do the same thing. And I guarantee you, 99% of the people watching this right now, you guys cannot beat a chosen bot without getting hit once. So doing this is just insane practice because it tells you what you need to do to get better at Brawlhalla. It's the same thing. Focus on your attack accuracy. These bots will miss, unless they don't, but they will miss. So really focus on getting them to miss or making sure they're vulnerable when you hit them. If they're also standing still, they're pretty vulnerable. So keep that in mind as well. Do whatever it takes to be as accurate as possible, but you don't want to play too scared. It's a balance between accuracy and not. Like that was a terrible Sarah for me and I ate a ground pound for it. So you can kind of see every time you get hit, there's a mistake. And so this is a great training routine to isolate the problem and focus on an accurate solution. So yeah, let's go to the next step. I cannot talk now. I'm yapping so much. Let's go to the next tip. So tip number 13 is pretty similar to this one. It's another training routine, but instead of doing it against bots, you can do it against your friends. But we're going to use bots anyways because I have no friends. Let's go to offline or whatever. Same setup as the last tip. But really, if you're online, switch to bubble tag. Set the score to 10. You could do more than 10 if you want it to be a bit longer. Set the maps to tournament 1v1. Or you could do auto or whatever and just select a map yourself. And yeah, same thing. I'm just going to set the map select to voting or whatever. Anyways, do a 1v1 bubble tag, pick a good map, and play the game. How bubble tag works is the first person who gets hit loses. If you get hit, you lose a point. So in this game, it's really focusing on neutral. It's isolating the problem. Like there, I got too close to the Nash, so he beat me. There, I missed my Sarah, the Nash punished me, so he beat me. Alright, let's see what's next. These bots aren't bad. He did a random down sig, so I beat him. So you can kind of see the problem being isolated. Alright, I did a weapon toss that put Nash in a disadvantaged state, where I thought the end light would hit, and it did. There I got too close diagonally, because he got a spear. Right? You can kind of see the issue. Oh, the Nash missed, so then I Sara'd him. So this is a great way to simulate neutral in Brawlhalla, and to focus on being accurate. If you're accurate, you will win this game mode. And sometimes you can attack first, but your opponent needs to be standing still, so they're, you know, vulnerable. And that was a terrible Sarah punish from me, and that's why I got hit. Oh, let's see what this Nash does. I got too close to him. I didn't dash away. I should have had preemptive movement. And if you don't know what preemptive movement is, then go become a Brawlhalla student on teamneutralix.com because we talk about a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of good information for just $4.99 in a live class environment, so I highly recommend go to teamneutralix.com and become a Brawlhalla student today. And sometimes when you up into us, it's still not confirmed. So let's beat this bot. It's a close game. It's first to 10. Okay, I can't lose. I cannot lose. Oh no. These bots aren't bad. Okay, that was terrible. They're bad. First to 2 points wins. Nice. And you see, it's all about being accurate. You know, that bot missed, I got the accuracy, and he missed again. Terrible. Bye-bye. That's how you win in Brawlhalla, and that's how you practice without playing ranked, and it's more fun because you can do that against, you know, friends online. So for tip number 14, we're going to go back to training, and we're going to pick your main, right? I'm picking Scarlet, and the tip is to practice your true combos 10 times in a row true. So it's a little game. This is a great warm-up routine if you have issues practicing your combos. Like if you can't hit the combos true 10 times out of 10 in a row, then definitely do this. Set the bot to the center of the map, just makes it easy. Set the bot to reset, and then get ready. So we're going to practice some combos and make sure we can hit them 10 times in a row. So if I side light down there, that's 1. The bot resets in position, and then I do it again. That's 2, right? This is 3. Make sure you can do every true combo that's important 10 times in a row, frame perfect. Make sure you hit it true and everything, right? So I got no issues hitting this combo, but let's say side light recovery. Okay, that's 1 frame. 1 frame. So 1 frame is all you can do for side light recovery. So I'm hitting it perfect, right? That's 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row, 9 times, and 10 times. So you can see why and how important this training routine is. I guarantee you, everyone watching, go try this. Lance side light recovery 10 times in a row at 1 dodge frame, and if you do it on your first try, I'll heart the comment. And don't lie, okay? Don't lie. Because it is really hard to hit that combo 10 times in a row at 1 frame. It's very easy to do something like that. But really do this with every single combo you have on your kit. Maybe it's hammered down light there. So that's 1, then that's 2. You get what I'm trying to say. Practice these combos, hit them 10 times in a row, and you'll be good to go once you can do that. Next tip, number 15, watch a movement guide. We have some great movement guides here on Team Neutralix, so go check them out. I'm going to link them down below, but editor, show some on screen right now. There's a movement guide from earlier in 2024, as well as movement tips. Watch these videos and practice all the movement options, because honestly, you need to know what's said in this video. It is going to help you improve dramatically. Movement affects every single second of Brawlhalla, so watch those videos and understand all the options in your tool belt or kit or box or whatever. You have tools to do things and to win, and you need to know what the tools are in order to use them and win. So watch a movement guide to understand what the tools are, and then you can win using them. So go watch those. Link to that is also, again, down below or on the screen. You saw it. Go check out those videos. Now let's go to the next tip. So now that you know what tools to use, we're going to actually practice using them. And to do that, we're going to practice in matches. It's hard to practice while playing, you know? You're focused on winning, but here's how you do it. Anytime where you're not focused on winning, practice your movement. So maybe I'm dash dancing right now, or maybe I'm doing the dash landings right now. In a waiting room, I'm doing this, right? I'm just doing hand warmers, practicing my movement. You know, I'm still messing up. I'm human. But yeah, we're in an experimental game, and you know, now we're focused on winning. You know, we're gonna do our thing. Maybe I'll play unarmed only for fun. I don't know. Do our thing, and when nothing's happening, I'm practicing my movement a little bit. This is also experimental. Let's see. But I'll show you what I mean. When you're between stocks and everything like that, it's more opportunity to practice your movement. Okay, I didn't think that would hit, if I'm being honest. Just used to... And now that we're between stocks, we're practicing our movement. You know, maybe dash dancing, whatever. Whenever you have the chance, practice it, you know? Get comfortable. You have time in between matches. Just to, you know, just continue building that muscle memory. Muscle memory is so important in Brawlhalla, and it takes time. So just stay consistent. You know, you don't need to play too much Brawlhalla, but practice that movement and please live. That's so sad. And I lived. That's crazy. And now we're practicing our movement, you know, between between the match, even though I'm screwing it up a lot. That's why you gotta practice. You know, I switched to D-pad. This is why you practice. Okay, I got no options, so I'm sweating. Okay. Go in. Oh. Okay. I thought that was gonna hit low-key. Get it? Low-key. He's awake. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, thanks to the boomerang jet. I'm gonna time this. Okay. That's coming down. Oh, that almost hit. That's funny. That almost hit. Oh. What is this guy doing? So yeah, practice your movement between stocks whenever you can, and just get those hand warmers ready. Now this is the 17th, the final and most important tip in this video. I promise, if you're watching right now, comment down below, I was there. Okay, I'll know who you are. You were there for this tip. Tip number 17, do whatever it takes to win. It doesn't matter if you're playing passive. It doesn't matter if you're running 24/7, or it doesn't matter if you're sig spamming. At the end of the day, all that matters is if you've won or if you've lost. If you want to improve at Brawlhalla, you will do whatever it takes to win. Okay? Let that sink in. Don't let anyone tell you how you should or shouldn't play. If something works, follow it and understand it. I went pro by spamming Scarlet Lance downsig. That move had no recovery frames. I was not a good player, and I still don't think I'm a good player relative to some others. Mechanically, I'm not as good as the others, but game plan is different. Do whatever it takes to win. Anyone watching this video can go pro at Brawlhalla, I promise. No one's born different or anything like that. Video games are digital, they're not physical, there's not anything limiting you. I have one eye, fun fact, my left eye is blind. Do whatever it takes to win, because you can create solutions to become better than Sandstorm. Yes, it's a far goal, but anyone watching can do it, and if you don't believe you can do it, then you've already lost. So do whatever it takes to win and go pro if that's what you really want. Thanks for watching this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys all later. Take care. Peace.
Tip number 1. It's kind of self-explanatory. Warming up. Warming up in Brawlhalla is really important. Such for the reason that, you know, come on, nobody wants to game gold. Like, the second you hop on, you don't want to be you don't want to, like, oh, I'm on Brawlhalla, ranked 1v1s, boom, 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 oh, queue up, let's go. Like, nobody's that psycho, okay? Once you boot up Brawlhalla, you know, take your time, move a little bit, move your hands, you know, make sure that you're ready for some Brawlhalla gaming, okay? Because not every one of us are completely ready for Brawlhalla gaming the second we get on. Like, look at me. I'm not there, but I'm getting there, okay? And that's my tip number 1. Always warm up on Brawlhalla. You seriously don't want to play this game on cold hands. It's the worst feeling ever. Tip number 2. Optimal punishes on your weapons. I'm talking about, you know, optimal string punishes more or less. On gauntlets, for example, you know, an optimal string punish if they spot dodge. Let's say, for example, they spot dodge. Where's dodge? They dodge neutral, right? So let's say they dodge neutral off the side, right? What my optimal dodge would, like, optimal punish would look like is something. Oh, I fucked it up. Would look like something like that, right? And it's impressive how many people don't even know stuff like that. You know, you could do after, you know, they dodge. And the same thing kind of goes for, you know, sword. Basically, it would be something like, and like, you know, their GP into recovery, but they're a little bit too low for that. But, you know, you kind of get the gist of it, right? Know the optimal string combos over your weapons. Now, I don't think there's a website for that. It's kind of like, for gauntlets, you know, the most optimal ones are like, yeah, the one I showed you already, this. Then, there's the recovery version of it, which is, this is for killing. Then, if they dodge to the side, just imagine him dodging to the side. Oh, fuck. Wait. Oh. That would be optimal, if they dodge to the side. But, that's for gauntlets. And for sword, the only one optimal thing you can really do is just like, after D-Light, you GP and you recovery. Not like that, but you know, if they don't have a dodge, let's say they gravity cancel, and then you hit the D-Light, you can do D-Light, GP, in recovery. Those are some examples. Now, I think Spear has like, you know, double D-Light, you know, Lance has some wacky stuff which I don't know about, and Side probably has like 30 different optimal ways of damaging the opponent after they dodge. But you know, each to their own, each to their own. My third tip is input lag. Now, let me share my screen a little bit. Let me share my screen. So, this, what you see right here on my screen, is set timer resolution. Now, you know, you can Google this, set timer resolution. You can download this off the internet, the interweb. Maybe there's a link down the, you know, down the comments below somewhere. This, for example, helps me with my, you know, PC running a little bit better. Then there's, of course, like stuff like, this is intelligence standby list cleaner. It's basically same as set timer resolution, but you know, it makes your PC run a little bit faster. You know, this is you could probably find like 30 different guides off the internet, you know, just like Google like 300 tips on how to make your PC run faster.
As we load into the first game, we're going to be talking about the first tip in 2v2. This tip is to protect your teammate. Basically, you shouldn't always protect your teammate, but when the stocks are even, kind of think about what does your teammate need. Like in this situation, I should probably take one guy, so then my teammate can take one guy, and then, you know, there, look, I covered for my teammate. It's kind of just like watch your teammate and kind of think in general, what do they need to succeed the most? And we're going to be talking about more in this. Like there, I just protected with a downer. I almost got a follow-up. Constantly looking at my teammate and my neutral. I'm gonna take one here, and there's nothing I can do there. I can't control everything, but I can kind of help as much as I can. Okay, what is that? But let's really focus right here. I'm just gonna show you how you can protect your teammate even more so. So right here, they're kind of targeting the teammate. So I should be taking one at all times. Okay, if my teammate runs into them, then there's not much I can do. Like that, Sarah was protecting. That's protecting, and I don't know why he's going off stage. The teammate should not be doing that. I don't know why my teammate gravity cancels signature. But here, right, we're going to take one of them and just make sure that they can't get to my teammate. I can't take both, right? My teammate now needs to run. But you kind of see what I mean. You think about the role, think of, okay, how, like, do we win? And just thinking and watching your teammate and protecting them is extremely important. Let's talk about the second tip now. This is happening right now. Play for team stock. So right now, the J-In needs to live. So this J-In is the team's health, okay? When J-In dies, don't rely on your teammate winning a 1v2. So J-In is the team stock. They should not be going off stage if they're the team stock. They should be running and trying to stay alive so the team can win. I don't know why the J-In is running at them. The J-In should be running away. You are the king, right? You're the bed in Bed Wars. No! Like what are you doing? Don't be this J-In, okay? When you are down and you are that team stock, really think about who's the team stock. The team stock is the lowest of the two teammates because it's the first one to, you know, lose the game, go to that 1v2. Don't rely on that 1v2. So, yeah, when you're the team stock, run! Don't do what the J-In did. Now let's see if I can win. I need to kill the rock, and then it's a 1v1, which I might be able to win. What is that? Ah. I want to dodge. I don't think I'm winning this. I don't think my teammate is good enough. Okay. Don't do what J-In did. Just do not, please, no. The third tip you need to know to improve at 2v2 is to target swap. So take a look at this. When you win a neutral interaction and you can't follow up, look at your teammate. Because often, like, not just your teammate, but their opponent too, often they're going to try and cover for you. So right here, I'm looking at them, you know, I'm target swapping and I'm like pretending. I don't know what this guy's doing. We're friends. He's my friend now. We're having soft tacos later. Okay. But yeah, in a normal game, like, it's not a normal game. You know what? Let's cue into a normal game. We're gonna cut to a normal game at this clap. Wow, we just queued into another game. Okay, let me show you more about target swapping. So again, when you... There's no way these people are just leaving! What is this guy doing? He's just quitting. He's done. He saw my DreamHack Austin title and quit. What? Okay, now we're fighting. Okay, that's fine. So, once again, like, you win your neutral interaction, then you can kind of look at your teammate's opponent, right? And that's kind of like when you should target swap. You hit one away, and then when you can't follow up anymore, you target swap. So, again, like, watch this. I'm gonna, like, hit one of them away. Even right there. There. Okay, Queen Eye went away. Yeah, it's not really a great example. Okay. Let's try and, you know... Hit that guy away, fake the target swap with the chase dodge. You know, I'm gonna unlight one of them, and then focus on the next. And it's just a lot of this target swapping. I unlight one, and then I look at the next guy. I just missed that easy punish, but... There, went for the other guy. It's as soon as you can't follow up, switch your target. There I almost got a Saren. And that decision making of if you should switch or if you can't, you should always look at switching, but you shouldn't necessarily switch. It's like mid-hit, look at the person behind you at the same time. It's a little bit hard. But here, right, I'm going to try and hit one away, so I dare end light. And now I just spot dodge reacting to that Hattori because I'm looking at the Hattori. In this situation, I'm going to... Okay, I'm just winning. The Hattori lost, whatever. Let's queue another one. I'm just going to leave at this point. I don't need to finish this. Okay, take a look at this. So I'm going to win an interaction, and I'm going to show you an example of target swapping. Okay. I Sair, and then I side light, and now I'm looking at the Mordex again. Sair. I didn't get that Mordex. Hit one away. Now we're looking at our teammate. Now we'll attack a wall. Talk about that later. Sair, and now I'm looking at the Mordex. Back at the Diana. Back at the Diana. And we target swap. When we can't follow up, we look at the next guy. That's the tip. So we can't follow up, so let me look at the Mordex. Okay, he's hit away. 1, 2. Oh, he's dead. So once again, I'm gonna win an interaction. Won that, and then we look at the Diana because she's closer. It's whoever's closest, and we're constantly target swapping. I'm gonna do it a little bit more, just get some more examples, you know, for the editors. Almost got that Mordex. Hit that recovery. And then I target swap to that Diana because the Mordex is like dead. And that's how you target swap. You look at one, when you can't follow up, you just switch. And that's kind of all it is. So I win one interaction, now we're looking at the next. Win that interaction, looking at the next. Win that interaction, look at the next. Win this interaction, look at the next. Won that interaction, keep switching. You can use chase dodges to switch as well, which I think we'll be talking about later. Nice read. Nice. And hopefully that helped. The fourth tip, we're going to be talking about the default roles of 2v2. So just like in Multiverses, Brawlhalla has a class system. There's supports, there's aggressors, there's hybrids, but in general, it's kind of hidden, not really talked about. There's two types of characters you want to play in 2v2. There's characters that close space very quickly. These are the aggressors. And there's characters that cover the person that's going first, and these are the anchors. It's like offense defense, just like in normal sports. So for example, a character with gauntlets usually goes in. Same with katars, same with sword. Characters with a lot of speed go forward. Bow downlight, you go forward with it. Moves that close that space are often seen with aggressor characters. For example, there's like Kaya is an aggressor.
you'll often see Mordex as an aggressor. Let me give some more examples, just scrolling through the roster. Obviously, Thea would be an aggressor. Tezka, usually an aggressor. Yeah, could be support. This is kind of a hybrid, and we're going to be talking about why. Some more aggressors. Let's see. Onyx is an aggressor. Lucian's an aggressor. You know, closing space on guitars. Maybe Blasters is a bit more support, so slightly hybrid. Asuri is an aggressor for sword. Ember is an aggressor. Koji, etc. Jala is an aggressor, kind of, again, closing that space because she's got really good stats to do it, but also the weapons and the SIGs, you're moving horizontal. It's just playstyle. Like, the best characters for this are kind of hybrids and can kind of play both, but it is slightly more aggressor. Wushang, I'd say, is like a hybrid, same with Val. Cross is a hybrid as well, in my opinion. Nyx is kind of hybrid, you know, aggressor, etc. Then we're going to be talking about the supports. So like Ulgrim, the Taros, even Cassidy, because hammer blasters are like support weapons. Spear can be support, but it can also be kind of slow. Gauntlets can be support. That's like a hybrid, just to set up these team combos. The goal with support is to cover your teammate and to set up team combos. So Lance and Axe are in particular outstanding at doing that. Then Hammer is also really good, and Blasters. That's why you'll see like most of the top teams, Boomy is the support, Sandstorm's the aggressor, Phazon is the aggressor, Cody Travis is the support. And you'll see this, you know, over and over and over again, just at the top level. Acno is the aggressor, Blaze is the support. Some of these team comps, Phazon Cody is like, Phazon Cody is Barraza and like a gauntlet character usually. Sandstorm Boomy really depends, but they kind of pick characters around that all the time. Cross Onyx, they're kind of both hybrids, but I would say the Onyx is the aggressor, the Cross is the support, set up with blasters, etc, etc. So just know your roles and kind of play towards those roles as part of the tip. So if you're the aggressor and your health is tied with your teammates and both you guys are team stock, the aggressor tends to go first. That way you don't make the mistake on who's going first at a top level. And that's something like when you hit each other, it's like, oh, well, we were both going for the same man. Well, no, the aggressor goes first usually if the health is tied. And that you'll see at top level 2v2. It's not super important, but it is a tip to help you improve. Pick legends that are better for different team comps. So what I just said.
The fifth tip in this video is to keep stage control as much as possible. And this kind of goes into play with the target swapping. So for instance, if you hit someone off stage, go look at the guy on stage now, and you guys can 2v1 that person on stage. So constantly, I just hit that guy off stage. I'm looking at the guy on stage and really try and hold stage control. Stage control is very important because it's when you have stage control, both you and your teammate can cover for each other. But if you don't have stage control, you don't have movement options to cover for your teammate very easily. And it's as simple as that. You just don't want to put you and your teammate in a bad position. In stage control, we're just covering for each other. As you can kind of see here, we're both just holding it really nicely, and we're just covering really nicely because of that. This is some random teammate, and they're just doing it perfectly. Very nice. Nice follow-up. And look at this. We're both just holding this stage. They don't know what to do. He hits him off stage. The core shouldn't have went for that guy because it wasn't confirmed. Got a little distracted. We could have had a 2v1 on the other side. But see how I ignored my guy and we got a 2v1 on that left side because we're just focused on stage control. Even here, I chase dodge back up the stage just to like maintain this control. Not too bad, sir. There we go. No dodge. And this core can go all he wants off stage, and he almost died for it. I had to go just to save him for a second, or, you know, put some pressure on the opponents so, like, they wouldn't gimp him. And yeah, also, we're going to do a little special tip. This is an extra tip in the video. In 2v2, use combos that are easy for your teammate to follow up. When you don't have, and you're deciding which combo to use. Like on Orb, you're deciding between side light nair, side light down light, and side light side air. Side light side air is the easiest for your teammate to follow up most of the time. Unless you're side airing in the opposite direction, then maybe you want to like
downlight or something. But either way, choose combos that are easiest for your teammates. So like on Lance, you have side light down there and side light nair. Choose side light nair. On Spear, you got downlight recovery and downlight Sair. Go for downlight Sair most of the time, not always. And it's the same for every weapon. Sword as well, instead of downlight Dair or downlight recovery, go for downlight Sair. Depends on your teammate, depends on what your teammate wants, but that is a very useful small tip that can help. Okay, so this is the 6th tip in the video, if we're not including the bonus tip. Pick and choose the interactions you take. So for instance, other than the main taunt, there we go. Basically, if you're playing 2s, you have the choice to like pick an interaction and not. So really try and like choose what you're gonna win very accurately. If I focus right here, like that Sair I didn't try and punish, that Nair I didn't try and punish, I didn't even try and punish any of those because I wasn't that comfortable. Probably shouldn't have punished that, and I get a free end light and I go for that. So really like focus and try and win every interaction, and if you aren't gonna win the interaction, you don't need to go for it. Like I shouldn't have dared there. Wasn't really confirmed. That was a clean side sig from Nakaya. We're on gauntlets, so it's GG's now. Gotta help my teammate. Make sure I take one. There we go. Aw, see, like I shouldn't have been in that position. But for the most part, should I take the guy off stage or on stage? Well, on stage, I'm more likely to win, to be honest. I guess I'm on gauntlet, so maybe I could have went for the guy off stage. But I'm used to being on stage with Lance. So really just think about the weapons you play, think about the pros and cons of who you go for, and pick and choose the fight you're most likely going to win. You don't need to choose every interaction. It's like picking and choosing fights at the end of the day. Don't pick fights you're going to lose. And in 2s, you have the luxury of a teammate to reset that position, and you can go for only the ones you're going to win. Okay, I'm going to focus up here and try and win. But speaking on that, let's go over the last tip. The last tip is to use chase dodges to reposition. So, like, if you feel like you're going to get covered by an opponent's teammate, you can use a chase dodge to just fully reposition. Aww. There's nothing I can do here. This is winnable. This is winnable. I can win this. You're going to see me use chase dodges a lot. So here, I'm gonna like win neutral, and then I'm gonna chase dodge. Oh, he covered well. Couldn't even chase dodge. Chase dodge to avoid that. That's cheesy side sig. Okay, if I kill the Orion, it's winnable. This Kaya knows what they're doing. They both know what they're doing to a degree. Okay. I'm gonna really focus up here, and I think a bunch of stuff that you can apply if I win here is gonna be in a situation. Let me stop talking. There's the chase dodge. I shouldn't have chose that fight. I'm dead. I tried. Let's do one more game, and you're just gonna see a combination, but specifically I want to show you this chase dodging thing. I'm gonna point it out when it happens. Okay, I'm gonna really try, win an interaction, and then chase dodge to avoid a punish. happened yet. Gave up. How did that Sir not hit? Just like there to avoid that, that was a good example. But other than that, the guy left, so it's kind of hard. I'm just gonna leave at this point, we're gonna win. Okay, we actually got diamond players, so this could be useful. Okay. I'm gonna win an interaction, and then I'm probably gonna have to chase dodge. Oh, nice. Insane Morlix player. There I chase dodge to avoid that Hattori. That was a good example. It happens kind of niche, but as you get better and better, it happens more and more. So it's really good. If you think that, like, their opponent can cover, then you should chase dodge. Like that. Exactly that. You see exactly what I mean.
Tip number 4. Don't have jump as aim up. Okay? This is one of those control things which, if you have this as W, it's one of the most troll things you could do in this video game. Because there's no way you are able to do any type of axe pivots in the game, which are really important for, especially, you know, team combos. So, for example, if I had blasters, what's blasters? That has blasters. Wait, whatever. Sword, blasters. There we go. So, for example, on blasters, you could not do axe pivots, right? Which are a really good way of poking people out of platforms, and just, you know, it's a really good move just to overall, like, you know, use. And you couldn't, like, do backwards and lights if you had jump as aim up. Jump plus aim up, I mean. And this is, like, really important for team combos, you know, starting them out. If they're running to the edge, you know, you can just reverse and light them and your teammate can get them. It's really good for 2v2s, which is kind of, like, low-key mandatory. I will lie, this is mandatory for 2v2s. But, for 1v1s, you might be able to, like, reach some ridiculous amount of elo without, like, being punished for it. But, you know, it's one of those things that will mechanically make you play better. I mean, worse, not better. And yeah. So, you know, delete that. Put your jump on a other button. Spacebar, I don't know, the number 9, like, whatever. Whatever works, but don't have your jump at W, because you won't be able to aim up. And you can't be doing, like, for example, gauntlet combos. Let's get gauntlets, like, you wouldn't be able to do this. Okay, well, like this, all of that would have been impossible to do with W up, like, W up, like, WS jump up. Tip number 5. Just enjoy the game. That's it. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the legend you play. You'll be kind of surprised how many people try to force themselves to learn, let's say, like, 10 different legends, and, you know, they want to really badly get that certain ranked 1v1 or 2v2 elo, so they just force themselves to, you know, do things they don't enjoy doing. So, my tip number 5 is honestly just pick a character you like. Let's say you like Cassidy. You know, pick up Cassidy, go into EXP, and just enjoy the game, honestly. It's one of the bigger tips, like, on this whole list that I would give out, is just enjoy the game. Because the only way you're seriously able to improve in this game is putting down hours into the game. Hours, minutes, milliseconds, everything you can squeeze out of this game. Just put in the time for it, right? Enjoy the game. Don't stress yourself about reaching a certain elo in a certain time, because nobody really cares. This guy's cool. And yeah, just have fun. Yeah, play some EXP, play some Cassidy, get rolled in the queue. You know the deal. That's my tip number 5. enjoy the legend, enjoy the games, enjoy the game, guys. Just enjoy the game. That's honestly the best way to improve. Number six tip, what I would give out is mixing your engagements. Okay, Brawlhalla is one of those games where literally every opponent is playing for their lives. Okay, so every opponent will always be, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what you're doing, right? And even you are hopefully trying to figure out what they're doing, right? Wait, am I able to make this just stand? Can you, like, yeah, random. So, you know, the game is really about just figuring out what's going on in the heat of the battle, okay? And one of the bigger things with this is just mixing up your engagements, okay? Because what I see a lot of people doing is they get really easily set on just one thing working out for them. Let's just say side lighting. Okay, side lighting is working against this guy. I'm just gonna keep on spamming that. Oh, he's gonna, you know, not gonna be able to do anything against this. Haha, right? But at higher level, once you get to a certain point, that one thing will stop working eventually, right? And you'll just find yourself really hard stuck at figuring out what to do. And one thing, you know, just mix up your engagements. You know, one time you're engaging with D-Light, one time you're gravity canceling D-Light, recovering with Hammer. The next engagement you're gonna be side-tigging him, maybe. Okay, don't change up every engagement, but you know, make sure that you don't make it super predictable for the opponent to figure out, you know, your next engagement. Because the second you're predictable, you know, the game is going to be 10 times easier for the next opponent to, you know, just like space around the move and, you know, do what they want, okay? So, really important. Just mix up your engagements, okay? Do it. Tip number 7. Knowing your matchups and what you can do and can't do, okay? Now, matchups, of course, they go a little bit for each of their own, right? You know, this is more or less a personal thing. Some people are able to deal with matchups way easier than others. For example, let's say like Hammer. Let's say you play Hammer, right? Let's say you go against a Ragnar. I'd say a Ragnar is a tough matchup. Such for the reason that if the Ragnar picks up a Katars against Hammer really, I think, is one of the weapons that struggles against Katars and bow, right? So Ragnar is just one of those matchups where if he has Katars, you gotta play a little bit differently, okay? Than you would otherwise maybe play against, I don't know, Axe, Blasters, you know, basic stuff, okay? Scythe, etc. So, you know, keep that in mind. Keep in mind what sort of matchups you're doing well against and what you're not really doing well against. For example, for me, it would be Katars with Hammer and Bow. And then, for if I had Gauntlets, I would say probably Spear. Spear is probably one of those weapons that if I have Gauntlets, I instantly throw out Gauntlets if I go against the Spear. If I was taking the game 100% seriously, like, I would just throw out Gauntlets and just go on my other weapon. You know, Spears is one of those weapons you can't really, you know, to do much against if you have Gauntlets. And another tough matchup I'd say is probably Sword, such for the reason that they have a little bit better hitboxes in front than Gauntlets, because, you know, Sidelight is a weak hitbox. D-Light is really good, but it's hard to hit. But yeah, those are kind of my opinions. And, you know, you can base your own opinions on the matchups that you struggle against, and yeah, figure out what matchups you can deal with and can't deal with. My tip number 8 is knowing stat priority for the game mode you play and playstyle, okay? This is kind of a loaded sentence. Stat priority, what do I mean by that? So what I mean by stat priority, okay, is knowing what stats to prioritize over others, okay? Now, what kind of the stat priority I'd go by is, you know, dexterity being the least. You know, dexterity doesn't really matter unless you're like Hammer. It might matter a little bit with some true combos you might be able to get, but other than that, dex is kind of useless. It's either your 2 dex or your 10 dex, okay? That's kind of how the game goes. So dexterity, anything that takes up dex is good. For example, I'd probably run this. I'd run 4 dex. I'd still get my Hammer. What is it? I think it's Anlight Sidelight. I'd still get that through at lower damage, and I'd just get extra force on it. So I'd probably run this if I was playing, for example, 1-on-1s. For 2v2s, I'd probably say the biggest things are defense and speed. And then for, you know, 1-on-1s, speed and strength. And basically anything that takes out the dex is usually good. Tip number 9. Use a crossover if your character has one, okay? Now, what do I mean by this, okay? It's a weird tip to give out, but seriously, there are some characters, like if, for example, you play Cross, just get Luke. If you just play Cross, get Luke. Like, it seriously makes a big difference. The Gauntlet side sig and sig are kind of hard to see. The D sig, especially on some higher contrast maps, is impossible to see. And for example, like Diamond Head or Caspian, different fucking legend. Let me tell you, different legend. Wait, these sigs are like, half of the time I'm confused on what the fuck he's doing. I won't lie. So, you know, there's Luke, there's Diamond Head, Roy Woods. There was one point where Roy Woods was actually a problem. Roy Woods is another one. His hammer and sig kind of looks fucking whack, and it's kind of hard to you know, just honestly like even realize what the fuck's hitting it. And oh yeah, another one is Stevani. Stevani. Where are you? There you are. This character, this sig right here. It's, you cannot guess what direction she's doing it until, you know, she's doing it. Oh yeah, this is another one. Alucard. Alucard is disgusting. The fucking the orb and sig, different sig, completely different. Ryu. There was like a certain point where I was really confused on what the fuck Ryu would do. So get a crossover, okay? Tip number 10: play tournaments and play community tournaments if you can, okay? Now tournaments, you know, you can basically just go in the game, and if you're on PC, I'm not sure about on Xbox and PS4, there is a tab where you're able to click and you're just able to see all the official tournaments going on, the community tournaments going on, and if you go on Twitch, you might be able to find some streamers holding like streamer tourneys, okay? It's the same on console, good to know. And yeah, just participate in tournaments. If you seriously want to improve, the game is completely differently played in tournaments, I'm not gonna lie. The games from ranked to tournament is completely different. When there's money on the line, people play way differently, and I personally enjoy it because, you know, people actually take the game seriously. So if you want to find more like serious practice and find out, you know, what you're seriously doing wrong, and you're not feeling like the ranked game quality is high enough for your standards, so you know, go play a tournament or a few, and you'll figure out things quite more easily than, you know, through ranked maybe. Tip number 11. Find what works for you and improve on it. Now, you might be, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is everybody kind of plays to their own style and kind of, you know, they kind of go at their own groove. Of course, once you're at the top 3, top 4 level, there's kind of like a mechanically right ways of playing the game, like when to parry, when to go in, when to be aggressive, when to do XYZ thing, right? To kind of like, you know, do things right. But at the end of the day, you know, you're playing the game the way you like, and I think the best way to improve at the game at the end of the day is figuring out something that's your way of playing the game, right? It might be spamming on the Ambison, right? And you might think of like, okay, well, there isn't much to improve on it, but I'm gonna be honest, if you're able to spam perfectly on Ambison, I'm not sure who's gonna beat you. So, you know, figure out your way of playing the game, right? If you wanna be the best Koji player, become the best Koji player. If you wanna be like the weirdest axe player on Ragnar, become the weirdest axe player on Ragnar. Like, there's so many different ways of playing the game, which I personally like, you know, about the game is, you know, there's so many different ways of playing the game, and nothing's quite literally the way of playing the game. So, you know, if you put in the practice, if you put in the hours, and if you find out your mistakes, your habits, the bad parts of your gameplay and the good parts of your gameplay, you know, you're gonna flourish no matter what, right? The way I got into the game was playing core and so spamming core gauntlet D-Sig, and I almost got top 8, okay? All I did was spam gauntlet D-Sig, hammer, Ansig, D-Sig, Ansig, like, that's all I did, and I almost got top 8, okay? Yes, let's find out what works for you. Alright, tip number 12. Now, I kind of went on this already a little bit earlier. I said find your habits, but tip number 12 is exactly that. Find your habits, okay? Objectively look at your games and figure out what you're objectively doing wrong. Because that would mean that there's a certain way of playing the game, which is not really correct, but at the same time it's kind of correct, okay? So, for example, what I mean by bad habits is dodging twice the same direction, not mixing up your engagements, either it being the second I fall down I do an aerial attack, or, you know, every time I dash in I do like a gauntlet sidelight, you know, habits that are able to, like, you know, be something that you repeat multiple times in your gameplay, right? Now, I don't think I have like any sort of good replays to show you of habits. I'd probably say the worst offenders are dodging twice the same way. You know, anytime you dash in, you do this move, or the second you fall down, you do this move, or you know, stuff like that. So stuff that makes your gameplay really predictable. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to stay, you know, kind of mysterious with the gameplay, right? We don't want the opponent to figure out what we're doing instantly, okay? So find out your habits, and honestly, if you don't find your habits instantly and you feel like you're really stuck, not really figuring out what are your habits, what I suggest is coaching, because you know, second pair of eyes is gonna be better than 2 pair of eyes. Tip number 13: watch pro gameplay. I cannot stress this tip enough. Honestly, I'm a bad offender of this. I don't really watch too much pro gameplay, but I'm on Twitter. Okay, I'm a lot on Twitter. Pykors, by the way, follow me on Twitter. There was a clip I saw. Reposted by Solerson, a pro player, and it was kind of versus Lorez Umir tournament. And I would have not seen this clip otherwise. So let me pull this up. This is kind of Lorez in final elimination, Brazil. So, kind of picks up the hammer. And light, side light, D light, double D lights, reverse Sair, D light, Sair. Going back to the neutral. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of crazy. And it's getting kind of dark in my room. Either way, that was kind of crazy. And I would have not seen this if it wasn't for the repost. So, watch pro gameplay. Seriously. Tip number 14. Sparring higher elo players. Okay? Now, there are discords. If you just look up Brawlhalla discords, there's Pavelski's discord. There's probably Brawlhalla official discords. There's a billion different discords that you could probably find an opponent higher than your elo. Now, of course, this doesn't really go for players if you're like, I don't know, 2,700 elo, then, you know, finding opponents is, you know, kind of your own mission. Like, have fun with that. But if you're below 2,700 elo, you can probably find somebody higher than you. So I really suggest, if you have friends, if you don't have friends, just go on a Discord, say you're looking to spar, or you're maybe looking for 2v2s or anything. Or just go on EXP, ranked most likely, and just spar. Ask people to spar. It's really like a mental free way of like just going in, not really having to worry about either losing elo or losing your mental. You can just kind of like play the game without any chains, and it's a good way to kind of improve at the game with zero stakes. Like, you're gonna go against a better player, and it's not a 10 times just better practice than, you know, going against somebody at your elo that's playing for their lives, you know, ready to parry you for 8 minutes, and the only thing they're doing is Scarlet D-Sick, okay, on lands. So, you know, there's better practice out there. So spar higher elo players the game. Tip number 15: playing 2v2s and 1v1s differently, and 2v1s. Okay, so what I mean by this is kind of, you can't really play the same playstyle you play in 2v2s the same way as you play 1v1s. In 2v2s, there's two other players except you and your opponent. There's his teammate and your teammate. So 2v2s, of course, is going to be bound to be a little bit more different than 1v1s. 2v2s is more rotation based, more, you know, being passive and trying to figure out what the enemy team is trying to, like, you know, get at. If they're trying to do team combos, if they're trying to, you know, play a game where the aggressive player goes in and the supportive player kind of plays back and follows up on the aggressive player. The game is just way different, okay? And in 1v1s, it's more or less you and the opponent trying to figure out, you know, what mistakes y'all are doing, okay? And it's way more cut and dry, forward, okay? But in 2v2s, there's way more things you gotta think about. So, in that case, make sure that you play 2v2s and 1v1s differently, because I kind of see that mistake in some players where they play a lot of 2v2s. For example, me, I play a lot of 2v2s, and then I kind of expect that same in 1v1s, which is not gonna happen, right? For me, I play a lot of 2v2s. My problem is that, like, I become like a hard sharking player after a certain point, and my mix-ups are not as high level as I would probably want them to be for somebody that's, you know, respectively good at 2v2s, okay? So I would probably personally, you know, if I was to play 1v1s more seriously, I would probably work on my mix-ups a lot more and my engagements, because they are really stale to sort of certain extent, I'd say. Tip number 16: finding consistency in your elo gains, in quotations, if you're feeling stuck at a certain elo. So what do I mean by this, okay? What do I mean by this? So there's some people that say, let's say around 1900, they feel really stuck, okay? They feel like they can't find like a way of improving at the game at a certain pace that they would like to see, okay? And one thing that helped me personally a lot was finding consistency in the elo games, okay? What I mean by this is, let's say each day you have about in you like 8 games. Let's say you play 8 games. Now, out of those 8 games, you can only lose 4, okay? Once you lose 4, then you gotta stop. So, for example, let's say you win, win, lose, win, lose. Wait, how many games is this? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, exactly on 8. So here, you would stop. But let's say you win, lose. You stop, okay? And you could kind of maybe make this 3 instead of 4 if you wanted to make sure that the volatility of your games wouldn't be as big as 4. But, you know, I'd probably say, you know, half of the games, more or less, you know, if you lose them, you gotta stop. So this kind of gives you like a goal each day on how to basically kind of, you know, this is kind of your day. Let's say you maybe have 10 games in you, or like maybe you have like 3 or fucking 20, like, and oh yeah, I'm talking about ranked 21s, specifically ranked 21s. If you want to improve at ranked 21s, if you're feeling really stuck, is just figure out how many games you're able to give out each day. Let's say in my case, it was 7 games, and if I lost 3, I would stop instantly. I would just stop right there and then. So that's a way of kind of like knowing your elo gains and elo losses kind of more consistently, and it will make the game quality a lot better, because for those 7 games, you are giving your 100%, okay? Your 100%. Before the 7 games, you should be warming up. You should play a little bit of EXP, maybe some 2v2s, and then you play ranked 21s for 7 games, okay? 7. Okay? Maximum. If you lose 3, you're gone. So if you lose, it's really hard to just stop there. But, you know, that's another thing. Learning that kind of self-control to not act on your anger and act on until knowing that you can play better, to keep on going and going, because that's where you kind of start either losing really hard or winning really hard, and then losing hard, winning hard, losing hard, and then, you know, the game becomes basically a cat and mouse of like chasing your tail until, you know, you either win the jackpot or you lose the jackpot, which we're trying to avoid. You want to make the game as calculated as possible. So that's one way. It improves on your self-control. It will improve your elo gains in a longer period of time, because you are giving out 100% on those games. And if you just want to see gains, just raw gains, that's probably what I would say. Is this for gaining elo or getting better? Well, it's kinda both. It depends how you look at it, okay? If you really badly wanna see like elo gains at a certain elo, then this is for more or less elo gains. But if you want to get better at the game, it kinda is like a self-control, like mental thing. Because this game is like 99.999% mental. Like anything you do, anything you decide, anything you go for is just not made out of your mental and your decisions, right? And in this game, there's a lot of people that struggle with like self-control, like not getting tilted, you know, all sorts of other emotions, right? And the second you're able to take emotions out of the gameplay, you're able to play 10 times better. If you're able to treat each and every one of your stock at 100% without being scared of losing or winning it, You're just gonna play better. Outright, you're just gonna play better. If you, like, for example, if you put up a Luna who's in tournament mindset against a 19 fucking 100, who do you think is gonna lose? I'm putting my money on Luna. Okay? So that's basically what I'm saying. Is like you gotta have that mental strength of like, if you lose, it is what it is. Go back to playing 2v2 ranked with your friends. Go spar some people. Go play EXP. But that's your ranked 1v1s. You're done. You're done. You're out. You shot your shot. You're done. Okay? But and then some days, you know, you would have bad days where you just lose. And then there was like some days that you'd win, lose, win, lose, and then be done, right? For example. And it's a way of kind of like tracking your progress, because then you would be able to look at like each day, like 7 games this day, 7 games that day, and you'll be able to kind of replay review and be like, I had a really bad day this day, and then I had a really good day this day. Why? And then you'd probably look at your losses, look at your wins on the other day, and you're able to kind of see what you're doing different against certain opponents and what you're not doing different. It's all about finding that consistency, because a lot of people struggle finding that consistency in their games, and then they're kind of like, well, I'm kind of losing some games, I'm not really sure why. I kind of like win sometimes 10 games and then I lose 10 games, and then I go to sleep and I basically lost like 10 elo that day, and I don't know why. I wonder why. So if you really badly want to find elo games, that's like raw elo games where you're losing and winning elo, that's probably the best way of like, you know, kind of like doing it, because then you just have like set out days where you're like losing either really hard or winning really hard, and you're able to see why you're winning really hard and why you're losing really hard really particularly, instead of you maybe losing like 10 games and then on the like, let's say at around like the 4th loss, you started like, you know, your brain started shutting off, or like, you know, you start doing stupid mistakes. We're just basically trying to avoid that. So stupid mistakes don't happen anymore if you just play like a certain amount of games. Tip number 17, coaching. Now, what do I mean by coaching? Coaching is one of those things that is really underrated or overrated, depending, of course, in the person. But what I mean by this is I think every player, any top player you can think of is getting coaching, or they're not really getting coaching, but like they're open to coaching at least, right? For example, you know, my homie Pavelski, you know, he probably does get coaching here and there from like other top players when he can. You know, you could probably think of like, I'm trying to think of some pros, like Dummy is really open to coaching, like probably like Luna, I don't know the guy, but either way, coaching is a really one of those hidden metas where knowledge is really key in Brawlhalla, and coaching is one of those ways of just unlocking more knowledge from another person's perspective. And you know, whatever sort of state you're in, if you're a pro player, if you're like a semi-pro, if you're like high, low, mid, diamond, plat, coaching will always help. Okay, no matter at what elo you are, another pair of eyes is better than one pair of eyes. Okay, and that's just always how the game has been, you know. Coaching is just good for 2v2s or 1v1s. So get coaching if you can. Alright, tip number 18. Now I kind of talked about this earlier on, but this is really big. Learn how to play without tilting. Okay? Now, this is a really loaded sentence. How do you learn to play a game? You know, how do you not get mad at the game, okay? It's kind of hard to get to that certain mindset, again, that certain mindset where you're able to give out 100%, but at the same time you don't, like, you know, get affected by that 100%. If you give out your 100% and you lose, dang, GG's, I gave it my all. Fuck, I'll look at the replay, see what I did wrong. Oh, I did these things wrong. Alright, next game. Like, don't beat up yourself about, you know, you losing in a video game. It's kind of hard to step into that mindset, but once you kind of unlock that part of your brain where you're able to literally like give out 101% without feeling like, dang, fuck, like I lost, now I can't do shit no more, I'm so bad, man, I like fuck, I'll queue up some J-Yon and just fucking like I'll try a great short now, like dang, like fuck, nothing's working anymore. Like if you're able to get out of that sort of headspace and mind space, you'll find so much more improvement in your gameplay because you won't like be scared of going for a string. You won't be getting too nervous in some situations. And tilting is just one of those things, like, if you're able to learn to play the game without tilting, it's a different game. It really is. Like, once I figured out how to play the game without tilting, without getting anxious, without getting mad, or, you know, getting scared, like, it's a different game. It's a different game you're playing. And it will improve your game, no matter what, because you're taking emotions out of the gameplay, which will lead to better decision making. And that's my tip number 18. Learn how to play without tilting, or the fear of what's gonna happen to you, etc, etc. Tip number 19. You can change the map backgrounds, right? You might have already kind of seen in this video, like, my map backgrounds are black and white. This is just kind of for my eyes. It's like, I like, for example, like I don't know a bright map that really like hurts my. I'm trying to figure out a map. Like, let's say for example, like before, like Shipwreck Falls, like, was one of those maps that broke my eyes. Like, anytime I'd be playing at like 2 p.m, I'd be like, oh, what's going on? Oh shit, I hit a stair. Okay, like, for me personally. So if you want white and black backgrounds, it's legal. You can do this. It is tournament legal. It is completely fine to do this. You can go, for example, to Game Banana, which is just Game Banana. Okay, it already goes there for me, kinda. But so search up Brawlhalla white and black backgrounds, and instantly, first thing, Game Banana. You go here. Yep, it looks like this. Manual download. Click on download. You get the file. Unzip it. Then once you're unzipped it, go to here. Brawlhalla. Properties. Installed. Browse. Then once you're in browse, go to map art, backgrounds, and then just drop the files here. Right? Just drop them. Don't rename them. Don't touch them. Just drop them here. Replace them. And then your map backgrounds will be, you know, different. The last tip, okay? The last tip, guys. This is the most important one, okay? Listen up. Tune up your ears. Tune up your headset. Listen closely. Subscribe to the channel, okay? Now, you might think that that tip is a kind of a joke, no? But it really isn't, okay? Subscribe to the channel. Knowledge is key in this game. If you want more knowledge, if you want to get better at Brawlhalla, seriously, subscribing to this channel will just, you know, help us out, and at the same time, you'll get like infinite value out of this, you know, videos. Like, if you know about these videos, if you don't know about them, hey, they're a loss. But hey, subscribe to the channel, click on that notification bell, get my coaching on the website. You already know the deal. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. See you on the next one, motherfucker. Peace out.